Are you in the process of planning your next big event? Perhaps it's a full day of networking or a multi day experience that ends up with a gala dinner. Events, they have expenses, and you're probably considering sponsorship to alleviate costs. Stay tuned because today's topic on Strategize Your Business is the secrets of securing sponsorship. So, Jackie, I'm going to let you take over the floor. If we can get started, share more about what it is that you do at the Well Connected.
Yeah, so thank you again for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie Clark, but everyone, or Jackie Clark, but everyone calls me that. And I run an agency called The Well Connected. It is a sponsorship relations agency. And so what that means is we focus heavily on brand partnerships and sponsorships in the event space. So I am a former publicist in film and beauty, did that for a number of years. And through that, I learned a lot about partnerships and particularly sponsorships. And as I was developing The Well Connected, that started as a PR agency for minorities in particular, I realized that I really like the event space and particularly building bridges and connections from either an event planner to a brand, an influencer to a brand, but more so driving results. And so as I started getting deeper into my business, I realized that there was a niche here. And I loved that there was so many different PR firms, but I wanted to really focus on something that was really important to me. So over the past 3 or 4 years, we've just been solely a sponsorship relations agency. So we help our clients with sponsorship procurement and acquisition, strategy calls and deck design, as well as overseeing their whole events to make sure that it is sponsor ready. And there's also a lot of valuation there.
Wow, that sounds pretty amazing. So, you talked about things like deck design, and some of the things that I was taking a look at, just doing some research, and I've been on some committees for putting together events, not being the leading force or anything like that. And from what I have been seeing is that running events is costly.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that people tend to run the events because it's a great idea. It's a great idea to make some money. And
Mhm.
I think people are discovering that events are a lot more expensive to run. And when I hear the things come up while I'm on a committee or just like in the back end, I hear things that we need to reach out for a sponsor. And I find that usually those who are planning the events, when they're looking for sponsors, it's to cover things like we need somebody to cover the meal,
Mhm.
or we need somebody to cover the space, or we need somebody to like contribute money. And then some of the things that people have as a reason why they would easily get sponsorship is that, well, we have this audience here. And I'm wondering, like, is it more than just getting money for the event when it comes to sponsorship?
Well, the thing with sponsorship is, in my opinion, which are not facts, it's twofold. So, an event is a tactic of an organization. An organization has created this event for some type of ROI or what I call ROE, which is return on engagement. And so, one, it's very important to get clear on, does this event drive or solve a need or support the organization? That's number one. Doing an event just to be like, oh, we want to do an event and it's a great way to make money is not always the case, because you spend a lot versus more than what you make depending on the kind of event. But sponsorship needs to be looked at as a partnership. It is more than just, oh, I want this brand so I can get money to fulfill this need. We know that you have a goal and need for the brand, but does the brand have a need and a goal for you? And what I find tends to happen is we're not actually asking how we could help a brand. We're not also looking at the right alignments. A lot of it is just, I just need money and that's all I need. But relationships, partnerships, sorry, are relationships. And same with sponsorship. A sponsor is helping you because there's an end goal for you, but there's also an end goal for that sponsor. But I get a lot of people that come to me, there's an end goal for themselves, but they haven't thought of the end goal for the sponsor. And the
Mm.
sponsor up saying no because you haven't thought of them. And a lot of, you just said, oh, well, we have this great audience. I'm going to give you guys a secret. Audience isn't enough. It, everybody has an audience these days. Everybody has something. We know that you have, oh, there's a need in this community. There's always a need in a community. We have to stop thinking top level. What is the need to that brand? And so
Right.
when we're thinking about our partnerships and sponsorships, we also need to be asking ourselves, how does that brand integrate with what we're doing where it's seamless interaction? It's logo on a flyer, a post on social media is common ground. Those are not added values anymore. We really have to be looking at, okay, I want Nike to participate. Who is Nike? What do they do? And what part of their business or their ethos aligns with our programming that we could integrate something seamlessly? And then that's where you start getting more interest from the brand, and it becomes beyond money. It becomes there's an actual value here. And so the money and the dollar value makes sense. And the last thing I'll say on that is you have to really determine your ask and your give. A lot of time what you're asking for and what you're giving doesn't equal. They don't equate. You're asking for $20,000, but the value of what you're giving is maybe 3,000.
Mm.
So why, like, you know what I mean? You have to really think about, I'm asking for this, but what am I giving the brand for return?
If I can take it to the beginning, so you mentioned that, for those who are having an event is a tactic to solve the need of an organization or like the organization. Can you share an example? Because like that sentence is powerful for me, and I've never really considered that. And I don't think that, when I've like sat in some of these rooms, that when somebody is talking about having an event, they're talking about like it really sounds like everything has to align, like you have here, solve the need of an organization. Would you be able to give me an example?
For sure. So when I talk about an event as a tactic of an organization, so an organization has goals, right? The goal is either to raise funds, get new money for programming, get whatever the case may be. And this comes down to my PR background. Everything you do is a tactic that leads to a strategy, that leads to an execution, that leads to a result. So for example, say a charity, or like somebody who wants to do raise funds for children for back to school to help underserved communities. Their goal is to create programming that helps them help underserved communities in different areas throughout the year. So one of their goals may be a book rally or a back to school pep rally, and I have a client that's actually currently doing that in Greensboro. Really great organization. So the bag rally or the back to school rally is actually a tactic of their organization to help with a few things. One, it brings awareness to the organization. It allows people to see what the organization is currently doing and what they're working on. It also allows them to create funding through this event, whether it be through fundraising, whether it be through selling merchandise, to help them continue the programs that they're working on. The events or events that you're lining up have to go back to serving your organization. If you're doing an event for the sake of doing an event and there's no real connection to KPI
Mm.
to your event, why are we doing this? Because an event can cost you $50,000. So is the goal, I'm doing this event to make money, but we spent 50K and we didn't make anything back, but yet we didn't look at our calls to actions. Okay, we need new email signups, we need new donors, we need to reach new audiences. The money might not have been made, but there has to be other KPIs that are served towards your organization. And I get a lot of people who come to me, and again, people don't know what they know. So this is not a shot in the dark at anybody, but your event has to align to a purpose. Most of us, when we're
Mm.
doing events, are we able to make a return on investment, or is there a return on engagement, which is what I call ROE? If I can't hit my investment, an engagement tactic has to be hit. One of those two have to be served, if not both.
Oh, you're going to hear a lot of me doing, because I am learning quite a bit here. This is amazing. I'm so glad that you're on. And I just want to quickly say hello to Sean Diamond and hello to Candicia. So nice to see you on.
Those are
Yeah,
8
thank you.
friends and partners of mine. Candicia and her sister Camilla are amazing. The Curly Girl community, and Sean Diamond is amazing at the work that he does as well. So, hi guys.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, everyone. Now, like as this is like math and you're making everything mathing for me. So I think now it also seems like there could be an issue that we're having these events and we're not thinking about these ROIs or ROEs, and we're
Mhm.
also maybe approaching the wrong types of businesses to get
Yes.
sponsorship from.
Yes. A lot of it is, so what I do in my agency, and again, I backstory for those who don't know, I fell into this. I went to school to be a bridal designer, wanted to live my best Disney princess life. And through college and university, college, I should say, I actually found my way into this. So I failed a lot, learned a lot, and failure was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I was really able to look from the bottom and look up and know where to begin. But one thing we do at the Well Connected is we have an ask, give, opportunity, and activation column. Like when I'm asking something from a brand, it has to be specific. You cannot go to a company and be like, "Hey, we're having this event," and I because you like, I don't know, Shea Moisture. You love Shea Moisture. You love their product. You just want them to be at your event. It's nice that you like them, but there has to be an alignment. So why are we having, a full beauty event, but we're not? But you have a hair care company. Where the application for that brand? Brands have their own ecosystem. They have their own things and ethos that they use. So a hair company is going to look for activations that lead around hair, talk about hair, because the biggest thing is demonstration. And one of the things I always map out as well are the five senses. So any event, any brand taps into the five senses: taste, see, hear, touch, smell. So everything is about that interaction between the product or the brand and the consumer. How does that interaction align? You have to think about that for events, right? And so when you're looking to an event, you have to think about what senses are we touching, what possible activation are we curating, and what is the experience that our customer, our audience is going to have, and what is the back end result that's going to serve to our brand or our partner. So when you think of liquor brands or food and beverage brands, everything is taste. It's
Right.
product to lip first, then you get the sensory experience of everything else afterwards, right? And so when you're thinking about, oh, I want, Johnny Walker to sponsor, Johnny Walker's going to want to sample their product. They're probably going to want to do an education about their brand as well. What does that look like? Are we doing custom? Oh, I froze a little bit. Are we doing custom drinks at the bar? Are we doing a custom menu, a tasting? Are we pairing our drinking with the food? You really have to map out that journey for that brand, because that is the way you sell an experience. It's not, hey, I'm doing this really great ladies brunch, and I think that you should sponsor and be our drink sponsor. We know a drink sponsor, but what does that journey map look like? What is the experience of that brand integrated? And you have to do that for every single brand you bring in. Find, if you're looking at a bank, okay, I'm an
Mm.
RBC early. I bank with RBC and Scotia as well. But if I want Scotia or RBC, yes, we know that they're a financial institution and they have money, but RBC has or these banks, sorry, have so many different branches of their business. Are we going to tap into the business side where there's a chance for somebody in the business sector to come and lead a workshop or talk about that encourages my audience to continue banking with them or set up their business? You really have to look at the value, and when you're pitching, you have to give some of those examples of the ways we believe you can integrate and activate with us, if that makes any
Right.
sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. So, for those individuals who are thinking about planning an event, when is it the best time to reach out to Jackie Clark?
The sooner you know you're having an event, the sooner it is that you want to reach out. So I will say this: I don't take on projects that are less than 3 months. So if you're 3 months out, I cannot help you in the aspect of outreach because I do not have enough time to get to these partners. So I say all that. There are relationships that I have, but I will be very clear and transparent. I do not guarantee sponsorship. And people be like, oh my God, you can't say that. I have to say that because I don't make decisions for that person. I know you now. It doesn't mean I can guarantee that you're going to have 20 people on your podcast for free. The only guarantee I could do is I could ask you, but I can't guarantee what you're going to say, or if you're going to agree to certain terms, right? And so the biggest thing is I tell clients, come talk to me, because I always start my clients with a 2-hour strategy call. And it is a jump start to work with me. I do not do anything else beyond a strategy call, because I have to understand your business. And they are very intense calls. They're very overwhelming. They're not for the faint of heart. And it's not for me to dissuade you in any way or talk bad about your event, but it's for you to understand what you're really asking for. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You can't be talking nonsense for $50,000. And there's a lot that goes into an event. I get people, hey, I want to do this event, and it's costing me, everything is $17,000. I said, okay, that's the red carpet price. I'm like, so break down this cost. Oh, that's the venue. So the venue's costing you 15. So you only have $2,000 or $3,000, whatever, 2,000 to work with the rest of the budget. But you want speakers, you want a stage, you want to perform. And people start being like, oh, I'm like, yeah. And then, oh, well, I've already booked the venue for April. Do you have the money for this? Like, so the sooner you know that you want to do an event, it's always worthwhile having a conversation, because the strategy is the blueprint. The dates can change, but once you have a roadmap to success, it helps. You need to get your decks in order. You need to know what you're asking for. You need to know your entire budget, because that's how we break down your sponsorship tiers. I get people, I think I want $50,000. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me if I gave you 50K today, you could run your event from start to finish, red carpet, all the bells and whistles. And they're like, oh, well, no, it really is going to cost us 100,000. Then that is the budget that we need to be working with and work backwards. So for people who want to have an event, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying give yourself the time to effectively plan, but have a backup. Sponsors, in my opinion, are a benefit to an organization. They are not the end all be all goal. If you had this idea for this event, you need to come up with the money and the funds for this event. If God or whoever you believe in put that on your spirit, you need to have the means to cater to that, because a brand there's a lot of entitlement I'm seeing. Oh, well, this sponsor did this. Well, my event's going to be better. Who asked you to have this event? You did. So if you wanted to have that event, you need to have the means to carry it on, because a brand can pull out. They do it all the time. Things are changing. Brands pull out things all the time. And if you are only relying on that money, and a brand pulls out, there's so many other factors that you have to consider for your brand reputation. So, I look at partnerships as a benefit to my organization. I look at them as an added value, but they are not the end all be all for my organization. With or without a partner, my event still needs to happen. And that's the ethos that I work with.
Right, thank you. So I'm looking down because I see we have a lot of engagement when I'm looking at the screen here. The names are not coming up. So I just want to say hello to Christopher Lawrence, who is watching, and hello to Amber. Amber said, I just had this conversation this morning with a client.
Yes.
Yeah, hot topic. Jackie, inside scoop, like do sponsors, those who have been approached for sponsorship, like what are 2 pet peeves that you might have heard from them that you wish that the audience would know?
So there's a few. I'm going to give you some that I can think of, but I talk to brands all the time and ask them what worked, what didn't work, and they'll tell you. And I've also been on both sides. I've been the pitcher and the pitchy. The biggest one is not knowing who you're targeting, and the generalized "dear sir, madam," or "dear, good protein team." It's very, very vague, and it also looks like it's just you've BCC'd all these people and you've sent out a script that there's no sense of personality and personalization. It's very blanketed. Keep in mind, you guys, yes, you are sending emails, but there's a human on the other side receiving that also needs to be considered, right? If you don't know the name of the person, that's fine. but try to do some research. And if you don't know the name of the person, try to at least make the pitch itself somewhat tailored. Now, there's a level in your pitch where it is going to be scripted, but where you can change and make it a little bit more personalized is the name of the person, referencing an event that you saw, or congratulating them on a recent award or something. So it looks like you've done some research, as well as saying, hey, this is how we would like, not brand to participate. This is how we would like Nike to participate. Changing, and it takes a little bit of time, but changing those small nuances goes a long way. And then putting some custom activations, like, hey, here's a couple ways that we believe that you could participate with us, and maybe 3 or 4 bullet points of some activation ideas, but also saying we would like to talk more to you about some of what you're looking to do this year, what's coming down the pipeline in marketing, what's new programming or products you're rolling out, what's happening for you, so that we can kind of embed that in the conversation. Another thing is you're assuming the sale. A lot of us are sending our decks right away and like, here's our sponsorship deck, and not really again, asking the brand what's going on. And it's always sell, sell, sell. Where's the conversation? The best thing that you could do is try to get this person on a Zoom or on a call and really have a one-on-one, and leave the selling later and really ask informed questions. That's a twofold. Another big pet peeve is the deck doesn't make sense. Your deck is not event focused. It's business or brand focused and doesn't speak to the experience of what you're doing. So your 7 first pages are the most impactful. It's the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how, and the value. Also, get to the point immediately. Miss us with all of the fadangle. A lot of that we could find on your website. Who are you? Who are you serving? What are you doing? What kind of event it is? Tell me the audience. Tell me the speakers, or give me an idea of the program. Make the deck event ready. A lot of people start their decks with, this is me and my organization. I can go on Instagram. I could go on your website to see that. The who should be the who of the event. What is this event? Who's going to be there? Your decks are not streamlined. They're not event focused, and it makes it really hard to narrow out what you're doing.
Right. Thank you. And I mean, going back to what you said, I mean, it sounds like people were sending those blank emails, dear sir, madam, or dear protein pack person. And I mean, in this day and age, it's just so easy to get the name of
Yes.
the individual that we need to send things to.
Yes.
Yeah.
LinkedIn makes
Well,
it really very easy to connect. You can search, go to a company, search, and look for the marketing director. And at least if you don't have an email, you can call the company and be like, hey, am I able to speak to Denise Boswell in marketing? That's a direct, then you can start making your way. But even if you're going to send a general email to the info at or general email address, address it to Denise. So there's an idea of where is it going. Or if you have an email and it may not be the right person, there's humility in saying, hey, Denise, I know you may not be the right person that I need to talk to about this. And I don't mean to mean any disrespect or waste your time. Is there a possibility that you could connect me with the right person? Or are you the right person that handles partnerships and sponsorships? I've done that. And I've had people, hey, Jackie, thank you. No, I'm not, but I will send this over to that person. And it's like, thank you so much. And I remove them off the chain to spare their inbox. Or somebody's like, actually, I am the right person for this. You've hit the right person. You don't need to email anybody else in my team. Deal with me. And I'm like, amazing. There's humility and being transparent that I don't always know the right person, but I'm looking for you to help me, and I'm being respectful of your inbox.
Thank you very much. So we've got some questions here. Sean Diamond, what decks in order would you need to provide to give to sponsors?
What decks in order is a little bit hard to say. A sponsorship deck in particular is very different per brand and organization. So the format, I mean, if you book a strategy call, I can give you a direct format of what that looks like based on the event. But I would say the biggest thing I like to send sponsors is I do post-event reports first. And if you've had an event in the past, and I'm speaking to people who've had a reoccurring event in the past or similar events in the past, you want to reach out to a sponsor and say, hey, listen, like for me, I run an event called Carnival Oasis with my business partner, Craig. And so one of the things that we do is we reach out to brands and be like, hey, we have this event called Carnival Oasis. It's a influencer activation gifting lounge, blah, 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 blah. You know, we'd like to talk about partnerships. We are looking for monetary branded activations built out, whatever. But here's our post event report so you could see a bit of how we actually do our work. There's no tiers in that deck. We're not selling anything. The call to actions, I would love to hop on a call with you to see how we could align Nike's 2025 goals with Carnival Oasis's 2025 goals and know what's down in your marketing. Here are a few things, ways that we believe that you could activate, but we'd love to hear from you. That's just that. So I prefer to start with a post event report if I've done the event in the past. If I've never done this event before, I'm working on my deck, but what I would send to a sponsor is maybe a one pager that has, you know, a nice one pager about who we are, a bit of the essence of the event, some of our tailored audience, but letting them know the deck is ready to come. But it's not a complete deck. It's just a taster to kind of get more feelers from them. Because again, sometimes they're going to be like, well, you're asking for 50,000. You don't even know if I have that within my budget. So they're automatically going to write you off. So that's kind of, you know, one pagers, sponsorship decks, post event reports, or a one pager website are great things to start with. But when it comes to actually what's in your deck, that is extremely tailored to the event that you're having. I know there's talks online about, oh, decks need to be 10 pages or no more than 10. I personally don't believe in that. I believe the deck needs to be whatever it needs to be to serve its purpose. The less questions I get after a deck means it was successful. So I've done decks that are 20 pages. I've done decks that are 5, and they've been successful. It just depends on the ethos of your event. And that's really customized because you can buy a deck template, but if the copy, the context doesn't flow, then it doesn't matter how many pages your deck is. If it's all over the place, it's not a tool that serves you. And your deck is a digital tool that needs to serve your organization.
Yeah, this is really great, Jackie. And I love the fact that you're really stating that this is not paper cutter, if that's the term. Often people are thinking that it's just about the money, and you're really, as Jackie here is saying, you are dropping the gems.
Thank
and
you.
then, and Tamara says, this is a rich conversation, enjoying it very much as someone who owns a company that is often approached for sponsorship. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. And you
Yeah.
know, I will say to Tamara, hi. But what I would also say for people that are being approached about sponsorship, one of the biggest things that I would say is you need to create your own measurement of value. And I call it a matrix grid. What are the things that you need for your brand to be successful at a trade show, at an influencer event, at a conference? Create your own metric scale, a grading scale, so that when these partnerships come to you, you kind of have something to go with. Because I work with brands and they're like, you know, we've spent $20,000, but we didn't see any result. But did you tell the brand this? Did you tell the event organizer, this is what I'm looking for? This is what are my KPIs and my metrics. This is how we need visibility and valuation. It has to be a conversation because an organizer is going to give you what they believe is value. And if it doesn't align with you, that's where we have that negotiation. That's why it's so important from the pitchy standpoint to ask brands, what's coming down the line for you? What's working for you? What are you working on? Because a client might tell me, Jackie, we have a new program, but we need email signup. So I know I can create something that allows you to get the emails that you need. That could be beneficial to that brand. And I've had brands tell me, Jax, we don't need any images for social media. We actually want to push everybody to our website. So we need something that works on that. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Mm.
And what I would also say is one thing that we as event organizers need to take a hold of is content is king. And you need to have a social media production plan in place for your events. The pre-promotion is great, but you need to be capturing content during that you can share afterwards. A lot of what's missing in sponsorship is you got the money, you've done 2 or 3 tags, but you haven't sent a brand a recap of what happened. And one email
Ooh.
photos is not quantifiable. It is not enough. You need to do the work. I do post event reports. My Carnival Oasis report, I think, was 83 pages. It took me 4 weeks to build, but it was detailed. It said it broke down exactly how the brands activated. Our brands also got a Dropbox with dedicated photos, reels, and videos. It's a whole production, but you guys have to remember a brand has to justify their cost. So if I'm asking for $50,000, a brand has to go back to, or an agency has to go back to their client and justify why they gave me this in dollar or in kind value. And if you don't make it easier for them to justify their cost, the likelihood of them either coming in at the same value or partnering at all, it starts to dwindle.
Right. Well, thank you. So, Jackie, I know you mentioned that, that strategy call with you at first is not for the faint of heart. And I'm hearing that I am, you are offering like great value here and great value for your clients. And my question to you is like, what would be one thing that your like a client feels after working with you?
What I've been told from clients is that they feel like they have a lot of work to do, but they feel more better that they have a plan or they have a direction. Because when we're doing events, we don't know what we don't know. And when it's never been done before, we're just into the woods. So what I've been told from the feedback I've received is that they feel like they have a bit of a direction that they can go in, and they feel a little bit more confident about what they're doing. The call is an ideation call. So we talk about, it's customized to your event. And what we talk about is the streams of income, in kind, service, or monetary. Sponsorship is, they call it properties. It's like selling houses and properties. You're selling different aspects of your event to make it whole. And so you have to know what you're selling. And so I also encourage clients to have this call, because I'm not with you every day. Somebody who's doing your sponsorship isn't with you every day. But if you know what you need when you go to events, it makes it easier. I train my clients to need me, yes, certainly, but to also help themselves. You need to be a hawk in this game. I go to events with the mindset if it's very opportunistic, and I know that sounds wrong, and people are like, you can't be like that. You have to be. When I go to events, I look up who's going to be there, what brands might be there, and I go to there's the bar, and I'm like, oh, this drink would be great for my event. Is the person here, is the manager or the owner already on site? Let me talk to them, because I beat the email. I get a one-on-one with you.
Ooh,
I
so
know what I'm
smart.
at. And beat the email is it's a term I use in my agency. I'm like, guys, we have to beat the email. Go to
Love
certain
it.
events with the intention of not always selling, but the intention of starting a conversation to be like, hey, listen, we're doing this event. We want to do cocktails and mocktails, and I believe your brand would be a great fit for that with a custom menu. Is this something that would be of interest to you? Yeah, we do that. Great. Who do I contact? That's when you could ask are you the person? No, this is my boss. Okay, great. Leanne, I got your email from Dee at this. It's relationship maintenance. Building a relationship with somebody, getting the contact, that's light work. It's the maintenance of that relationship, which is what is hard. And a lot of us get the brand contact, we get the ask from them, and then we don't nourish this relationship. And that is where we lose out. And so I train my clients on the call to think this way. And we get a doc, and oh, this is a great brand. This is how we use hair brands. This is how we use, liquor brands. Where they place in building your house. Because at the end of the day, it's a foundation, and there's the rooms that have to be built in order to make the house whole. Same with your event.
Right, thank you. Christopher Lawrence is on the call, and I know he's really big about having like conversations, like real life conversations and things like that. So thanks for that. So Jackie, before you go, I
Yes.
always have to ask my guests,
Mm.
what is your favorite social media platform for your business?
Oh, I don't. I would say, truthfully, I would say so far it's a tie between LinkedIn and Instagram. I can't pick just one. I would say both, because they both serve me in different ways. LinkedIn, I've been able to have a lot more intentional conversations. I feel like I've been able to keep it a lot real. I'm always real. As anybody who follows me knows, I'm not going to sugarcoat. You're going to get what you get. but I found LinkedIn has allowed me to be a little bit more transparent in the frustrations of the industry, but being able to be heard, seen, and respected of my opinion, whether you agree or not. Instagram has been great for just a little bit more. I don't know. They both are great for visibility for me. Um,
Mhm.
Instagram has been great to be a little bit more splicing. I could splice up the content in so many different ways, and it's a little bit more magical in that way. But LinkedIn has been allowing me to have really tailored conversations that are a little bit more meaningful. So I like them both equally.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. And I love the way that you broke it down, like how it's been able to serve you. So that's great. And I love to ask that question because, I there's many business owners who even say to me that they just don't love being on social media, or they feel that they have to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And some are just in one area. And for you, there are two that you really enjoy. So thanks for sharing that. So before we go, like, where are the two best places that we could follow you online and like just learn more about what it takes about having events?
Yes, LinkedIn and Instagram. So those are the two for me. Like that's where I'm at. To learn more about me, again, I post a lot of content on LinkedIn as well as on Instagram. Uh, LinkedIn again is a little bit more if you want more hearty conversation, long-winded thoughts and opinions. That's where you'll find that. Instagram has a lot more um, short cues, but I'm on there. And if you message me, I will answer. But truthfully, the best place to get to know me is just send me an email. I'm happy to hop on a call with no intention of just connection. It's not, again, always a sale. It's great to just connect with people. So, yeah, I'm easier. That's not a word. I'm accessible. Okay. I'm accessible on email at Jackie at thewellconnected.ca. That's the best place to reach me because I'm glued to my email. DMs and stuff, I'll respond when I respond, but I might miss them. But email,
Mhm.
I watch that like a hawk. So,
Yeah, you really have to in your industry, right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, Jackie, thank you so much. So thank you for saying yes, because I saw you in, I think, November, December, and I'm online like way too late. And I'm like, do not send her a DM until the morning. So then, the alarm, I put it in the alarm and I sent it. Thank you so much for saying yes.
Thank
And
you.
everyone, thank you so much for watching and asking the questions. And if you're watching the replay, please do not forget to share your business. And I'll be back a little bit later to engage. And Jackie, I'll be sharing like the best places for us to reach you
Yeah.
within the comments as well. So thank you everyone for watching this latest episode of Strategize Your Business Online, and have yourself a great day.
Thank you.